Hi, this is Mark Meir, the voice of Commander Shepard, and you're tuned in to the EnteR ChazmaN podcast, my favorite podcast on the Citadel. ChazmaN and Phoenix, let the conversations begin. To the Normandy.
What's going on, everyone? EnteR ChazmaN here, and I'd like to welcome you back to the EnteR ChazmaN podcast, where, as always, this is your place to hear all of the nerdy video game news that me and my buddy Phoenix have thought was most prevalent throughout the week. On screen, as always, just like to say, if you'd like to hear the audio-only version, we have it somewhere up there. And I just wanted to say, what's up, Phoenix? How are you? How was your week since we last recorded?
It's been fine. Super boring. Nothing exciting. Diablo slowly started to capture my life. So, no, just kidding. No, it's been fine. Everything's been good. No complaints.
Have you been noticing any funds disappearing from your wallet since you started?
No, I have been very mature, and I tore up my credit card and forgot my number, so I don't have to worry about it.
You're not living in a cardboard box yet?
Not yet, no.
So have a home?
No, I'm appreciating being out of your basement, so I'm not planning on going back there yet, but it is good to know I have that as a safety net if I have to.
But yeah, so I guess just to blast through, just to let you guys know what major topics we have for this week's episode. We are going to be, of course, talking about Diablo Immortal once again. I have actually started playing, and I feel like I have a few opinions that I can add to the conversation. If you didn't get to see last week's episode when our friend JC and Phoenix had begun playing the game. So we're going to talk about that, and then we of course, would like to move into the episodes 3 and 4 for the Obi-Wan TV show. We did get caught up there. And then next we're going to be talking about what's been going on lately with the Summer Games Fest. Have you gotten to watch any of that, right, Phoenix? You got to watch the whole thing, or just have you seen just highlights?
I pretty much did highlights. I didn't watch it live, and I just kind of, saw the summary afterwards. So, I've seen the trailers that I care about. I know what was announced, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That'll be a cool one. Same thing. I didn't get to watch it live, but I actually, literally an hour ago, blasted through the entire thing. So that'll be interesting. But I guess to start things off, yeah, we're gonna touch on a little bit of Diablo Immortal. I did get to finally start playing it, although admittedly I haven't gotten to play still anywhere near as much as Phoenix and JC. But I guess I'll give my opinion for some of my really basic opinions on it, seeing as how I'm kind of the last one getting to it. But I would say it does very much follow a lot of the framework of especially Diablo 3, I would say more specifically. It does feel like they've brought back many characters and even the opening storylines, if I'm not mistaken. Feel free to correct me, Phoenix. So you probably played 3 more than me.
I'm not a lore buff enough. That's where JC would be able to fill it in. She was telling me it actually lines up more with Diablo 2 in some ways. I don't know. It feels very familiar.
The game part, that was still an opening section of 3, was you went to go face that same Demon King or whatever at the very beginning.
Was it still the same one?
Yeah,
they've had a few different kings. I know they mentioned Leoric, which was the king from 3. I said I'm not super sure. He seemed a little different in this one, but I wasn't. I'll be honest. I've been skipping all the story elements of the game.
But I totally agree. For me, a lot of the plot and story, what's actually happening, I don't feel it. It feels like more Diablo, and it's not something I particularly have been very much wanting to get deep into. But I will say, I think Phoenix you mentioned it in our previous episode. It is, even though it is, I feel like it is the kind of game that at one point there will be a point when it's probably monetized all the heck, and I'll notice, all of the pay-to-win type stuff eventually. But I will say, in terms of the game mechanics, you mentioned it, it's oddly really good for, a mobile game. And maybe it's because I'm not too familiar with mobile games. I've told Phoenix and stuff, I don't really play games on my phone that often, but this feels, really good. How they were able to make every single button and, I don't know, every attack kind of just work. It all just feels right on the little phone. Is that you mentioned that, right?
Yeah, and I think that's really it's the great thing about this game, but I think it's also the part that I think
the detriment.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna say detriment. I think the fact this game is so good is what makes it so disappointing hearing about, the terrible microtransaction ridden in-game that you're getting to, because it almost comes across more exploitative. They clearly put a lot of effort into this game to hook you in. And I haven't even finished the whole main campaign yet. I think I'm level like 45 or something like that.
You guys are way past me.
So, there's a lot of free content here. If you're someone who really can just stay focused on only playing the free content, there is some meat here, but that doesn't change the fact that it's exploitative. From everything I'm seeing online, as soon as you reach that end-game point, you're capped. And unless you're willing to throw some money at it, then you're kind of out of luck as far as, normal progression. So, I guess it's just a shame, because it does play really, really well. It feels like Diablo 3. The fact that I can just be anywhere and hop in and do a rift for a few minutes is really nice. I can play it on the go like that. The PC version, of course, is nice for those who want to have the functionality go back and forth between the platforms. So
and they made it really easy to like. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. What are you saying?
No, so they make it really easy. Like anytime you need to like quick react with a button, like if you come across items to pick up, like immediately like that little hand signal will pop up when you just pick up the item. Or if there's a portal nearby, you hit that same button, it'll take you auto walk to the portal. It's like they made everything like super quick and snappy.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it plays great. And if I'm hesitant to recommend it now after seeing everything so crazy, like I'll say this: if you are someone who truly can restrict yourself from getting caught up in the microtransaction stuff, well, that's hard to say. Here's the thing: most people think they can. They usually think a little more highly of themselves than they actually are.
I'm really good at that. I'm really good. Destiny is the only game in the last like maybe 5 to 10 years where I feel like I've put any money into. Destiny's the only one.
Well, that's good, and I'm similar. I don't throw a lot of money at these kind of games, but here's the thing: I'm hesitant to recommend it, even if you think you're one of those people who's like, "Nah, I'd never pay a dime in one of these games." Are, then no. Even if you don't, there are people who don't know their limits until they get addicted to something. So it's just a shame, because if this game was just the free-to-play model, and of course it's going to have some microtransaction stuff, but if it wasn't egregious and exploitative like it is, I would feel better about recommending it. But I'm hesitant because I worry that, okay, someone is going to start playing it, really get into it, because the game at its core is a fun game done very well, especially on mobile. Someone's going to get sucked into that in-game, want to progress, and then they're just going to be like, you know what, I'll throw $1 in it, I'll throw $2, and that's a slippery slope. As soon as you do it, especially on a game like this, you're paying forever.
So Angry Joe earlier in the week, I remember I listened to one of his videos, and he was suggesting that because of that aspect and how he doesn't like the greediness and the microtransaction pay to win type stuff, he was suggesting that his fans, even just playing the game, in his opinion, was supporting that type of game and that type of mechanics. I mean, would you go that far to say that even if you are able to stay out of doing that and giving them money, or becoming a whale or any of that, do you think even just playing the game supports Blizzard in any sort of way? Just send a bad message?
Yes, it's different. Yes, most of their money from this is coming from microtransactions, but there's other ways. The fact that it's going to be, ranked high, the more people who play it, the more publicity it gets, it ranks higher, and then people who don't know any better will get sucked into it. So you are supporting it by playing it. And I said that's why I'm so hesitant to truly recommend it, because you are playing into their hands, essentially. Even if you're not the one who gets affected, other people might, because you're encouraging this type of style of exploitative microtransactions. So I don't know. As you can tell, I'm really torn in between. I like the game. Personally, I plan on keep playing it. Me and some people are gonna disagree that I probably shouldn't be playing, but I'm going to play until I get to the end cap where I feel like, okay, I can't progress anymore without paying. I'll feel like I've gotten some free entertainment out of it, and I'll stop. I know it sounds probably a little hypocritical, but for me, I feel confident in my spending habits. Oh, my timer already went off. We already talked too long about Diablo. Oh, no.
Oh, we did. No, I think it's because you reset it before you started working on some other stuff. Don't worry. Just keep going.
Oh, well, for those who aren't paying attention, we are going to try to be more focused on our timing. So I've actually implemented a timer. You'll hear a little alert go off. That means we should be shutting up, but maybe I started that one too early.
I let him out of the basement one day, and he starts putting timers on everything.
Adding features, adding graphics to everything. Isn't this nice, everybody, for those who are watching on YouTube?
Everyone in the comments, please comment if you want me to put him down back in the basement.
Oh. Well, then you're going back to only seeing ChazZ's face. So really think about what you're buying into now. But anyways,
But yeah, I agree. I'm very comfortable in my ability to not spend money on a game, and the same way, like I'm casually enjoying it so far. So I'm same boat. I'm gonna play it until the very end, and when I feel like the egregious play to win or play to advance microtransaction things start to kick in, I'll move on to something else. I mean, I don't know.
right.
I've always been pretty good about not throwing money at a game. I feel like I will say the only other game that I did throw money at was I guess Halo Infinite. Technically, I probably gave them.
For the battle pass.
I know I bought the bunny ears too, so that
Oh,
may have been like 20, $25 I probably threw at them or something.
yeah. But still, although, yeah, they have microtransactions built in, but it's not exploitative to the nature that Diablo is. Because, with that, you know what you're buying, right? You buy this cosmetic, you get that cosmetic, you're fine. This, it's more the gambling nature. There was a guy, I think I saw it on, was it Kotaku article? Some guy basically just kept throwing money to see how long it would take him to get, the rarest gem. It's like a 5-star gem. It took him like 6,000 American dollars, and he still didn't get it. Like, think about that. So that the number that they're throwing around for maxing out your character has been like $100,000, but that's considering decent odds. The thing is, this game has no guarantee you're going to have decent odds. So it might be 100,000. I've heard estimates going for like 500,000 up to 1,000,000. Like, there's no real set number on this because it's all randomized. That is insane. Like, what kind of game is they going to want to, well, not want to play, because people will play this game and put money into it, but this game's not worth putting your time in for $1 million to get a maxed out character. It's not worth doing that for $100, in my opinion.
I don't know if we've talked about this topic, but now that, well, it hasn't even happened, it hasn't even occurred yet, but do you foresee this type of greediness, type of just odd things to put into a video game? Do you think this kind of things will continue once the Microsoft purchase will go through? You still think those still be implemented?
Hopefully not as egregiously, but yeah, Microsoft does microtransactions in their games, like Halo Infinite.
Halo Infinite. Yeah.
Once again, it's not to that level, and I'm not sure exactly how far they'll want to push it, but you gotta think too, this game is also in a different space. The mobile space is known for games like this that have some really egregious policies. I think this is the first time that, like, kind of normal core gamers who don't really dabble in mobile games are experiencing that, because we're used to kind of the console side where you have horse armor from back in the day and standard kind of battle passes that you'd buy, but we're not used to thousands and thousands of dollars necessarily we'd have to invest in a game. The mobile market is, so they're treading some kind of weird waters here, and they're trying to yank the core gaming infrastructure into that mobile mobile stuff.
They better watch it, because if you know as well as anybody, if they move any of this type of things over to Diablo 4 when that comes out, I think Diablo 4 could be the nail in the coffin for, like, I know Blizzard at this moment still probably doesn't have much goodwill left in terms of the community and their true fan bases, because apparently World of Warcraft, apparently those numbers have been continuously dipping over the years, and I know what was it, Warcraft
the remaster, whatever it was, of Warcraft 1.
Reforged, I think,
yeah, that's
or something.
What it was.
That game was horribly received. I know a lot of other things that they have, it's just not been received well. And I think if they were to, I don't know, if they were to crap the bed for Diablo 4, I think that could very well be the last. I'm sure they could do something to bring people back, but that really seems like a game they have to get right.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that, especially something that anticipated. Like, we've already heard, like, rumblings that Overwatch 2 is not what people are wanting it to be. So that's not exactly, a feather in Blizzard's cap right now. And you're right, like, World of Warcraft has been dipping. I know they've been still, I think didn't they just add, like, new content recently? But the problem is there's a lot more.
Yeah.
There's more competition in that space. World of Warcraft is not the main entity like it used to be. And you're right, Diablo is now getting dragged down a little bit too. So, I don't know. I hope Microsoft has some rationale to pull things back. Honestly, I think what's going to happen is there will be some pullback here, even from Blizzard as it is. This is how all these systems work, right? They go as far as they possibly think they can go as soon as the game launches, and then they go, we're sorry, and they start pulling stuff back to where, it's a little more reasonable. So I think some changes will probably come. I don't think it's never going to be what we want it to be, where it's just like you pay a flat fee or something like that. It's going to be still kind of exploitative no matter what.
I still think fans, no matter how hateful or down on something they get, fans will come back if you put out something good. But you have to like really go in on it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't think they can you can ever fully drive away all of your people, but like you can definitely like I just think people are dormant. People will go dormant until they get something that reminds me of what made them happy. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah, I think the problem too, though, to a certain extent, is how the core gamers aren't usually the main market for a lot of this, especially the mobile market. So I think maybe
Mhm.
that plays into like World of Warcraft. Those are usually the core gamer types, but Diablo, although there is that component to it, that was a more casual style. Like my wife, who is not, I would say, a real core gamer, plays a lot of Diablo. So with that in mind, like there's a larger consumer base I'm sure Blizzard is kind of appealing to, that even if the core gamer's like, I don't like how you handle this particular aspect of the game, as long as it appeals to the mass market, that's going to keep Blizzard going one way or the other. Like here's the thing, like Diablo Immortal, it's a good game. Yes, the core gamers are up in arm about it. It's going to make Blizzard a lot of money, and they're just going to look at that as a good thing, and they're going to continue doing that. So
I just think with this game it would have looked better if this launched alongside a new Diablo title. Like if this was more a supplemental versus I mean it's the same thing with the event when it got showed. It was like everyone was like, "Wait, you're finishing the show with this? This
mhm.
is not how you should finish your show. Like this should be, hey, look, this is what we have, but we have this. You know what I mean? It to me it wholly feels like it should have been supplemental in the same boat as remember when Fallout 4 came out and
They had
they
Fallout
showed
Shelter.
Fallout Shelter, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you said it right. The primary community for this game is not looking for a mobile game. Like it should be like a supplemental. This is to hold you off until this. You know what I mean? And I guess technically they have done that, but
I guess what I'm saying
Diablo
though is
4 we
they
still don't know
are.
when that's coming.
It seems like at least with this Diablo mobile game, they're trying to broaden their horizons on their consumer base. Like their core audience is what they've relied on for so long. But if they can appeal in this regard to a larger fan base, which they clearly are going to with this mobile game, it's a bigger market, and it's a fun game. It's not going to take much to hook people into it.
Hmm.
That's even if their next few games flop, that's going to still encourage them to keep some of these practices, I think. But either way, okay, I think we really have gone too long now on Diablo. So last thoughts.
I guess just kind of last thoughts is I would just say I'm enjoying the game. I do want to continue playing, but stay tuned because when I hit that when I hit the microtransaction wall, that's when that podcast episode is going to be fire because I want to rip on it.
Fair enough. Well, I'll just say I cannot give it a whole earnest recommendation like I did last week. Last week was before I really knew anything about all this egregious stuff. I enjoy the game. I'm already kind of hooked in it, but with a good conscience, I'm not going to recommend anybody listening to go and try it out. Here's the thing, too. I mean, it's Diablo 3. So if you already have Diablo 3, go play
Go
that.
play Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only nice thing about this is it's mobile, so it's a little more accessible. But hey, Diablo 3 is on the Switch. Even if it costs you a little bit to go get that version of the game, go get that. You'll get just as much fun out of it, and you won't have to pay them $1 million to get to
I
the
would
max
even say
character.
go play that new Diablo 2 remaster that came
Oh, you
out. Like
resurrected? Yeah.
that's probably a more fun experience than I don't know, it's more true to the Diablo
Well, it's the
game.
end. Once you pay your however much you pay for the game, you're done. And that, at least for me, I prefer that kind of model. Not that that's the case for everything, but for this, yeah, go that route.
Have you played with any groups lately? Because I know there's been a couple of like places for dungeons
Hmm.
when it said, "Would you like to play with people?"
Yeah.
And both times I said no. I ran through it by myself with no
Oh
help.
yeah, I've been going
I
in
don't.
with the random parties. They work just fine. There's no lag or anything.
You can make it through them solo though. That's why I was just like,
Yeah, the
"It's
problem is like sometimes
weird."
you get better rewards if you have other people and they like
Oh, okay.
add boosts and stuff to it. So I mean, if you can, but it plays well. As that's what I'm gonna go back on a rant if I don't keep moving on. So let's
No,
keep
you're
on
good.
going. All right,
We'll move on.
new timer. Here we go. Starting now.
All right, so I don't. Oh, what are we? Oh, so Obi-Wan. We talked about episodes 1 and 2 last week. I feel like this is going to be a very interesting subject because I was very high and very positive on episodes 1 and 2. not to give it away, but to an extent, I'm a little bit in the opposite direction for episodes 3 and 4. Did you just want to talk about 3 first? Go into that one.
We can do it either way. We can group them together or just take them individually. I mean, I would say overall I am similar to your sentiment. Here's the thing: I wasn't blown away with the first 2 episodes, but I thought it was a good start. Like,
I thought they did what they needed to do.
It was inoffensive. Like, I didn't see the only major issue I had was that that canon issue with Leia now knowing who Obi-Wan is before the message.
If you had that issue, that last couple episodes open up so much more of that.
Yeah, and here's the thing: I'm usually pretty forgiving about little things like that. I'm not the biggest nitpicker in the world, but there's just some things you do need to get right, and that's not like it was a small moment. Like, go back to the original trilogy in that first movie, that whole message was a major component of like the first third of the movie, and you hear it so many times. It's not like some weird throwaway line in the lore. It was very specific, making it seem like Leia had never heard of this dude before except through his relationship with her father. So I don't like that, but once again, setting that aside, yeah, I still don't hate this show by any means, but I would say I'm more lukewarm on it than I was before. It's just feeling kind of meh overall.
I would. It's hard to explain my thoughts on it. These last few episodes, I very much liked portions of them, but I don't know what happened. But like for me, the writing in both episodes, but I would say 4 in particular, the writing feels like totally written by somebody else. Like some of the dialogue in 4 and 3 is just like totally off. I'm not quite sure exactly what they were going for. Like, there's so many outlandish things that happen in episode 4 particularly. It's just like, I was like almost the scene where they're walking out in the trench coat with Leia.
I know.
I was laughing.
It was terrible.
It was one of the most ridiculous things I think they could have done. And it's like, really? And none of these, 1,000 soldiers around
that plan should have never worked. Like, I mean, I'm definitely all for, suspension of belief kind of thing and, letting things play out.
Awful.
But yeah, nothing they did, I felt like should have worked, especially because Obi-Wan clearly is not at his peak, Jedi-ness. He is kind of shaky, he's unsure of himself, he's freaked out about Vader, all that kind of stuff. So to think that pretty much he could, pull off this plan effectively is already kind of sketchy.
I was freaking out that they were at their plan, or the fact that they were succeeding in their plan. Because at first I thought that was Vader's home. I was like,
he's in the same system. He's not on.
He's in the same system.
He's not in his lair.
I thought he was in that building though the whole time.
But still, it's a freaking home base. I'm sure some people are going to defend this and be like, well, that's what it was like when they snuck into the Death Star. But they encounter more opposition on the Death Star, and I think we're sneakier about certain things. Like this, they should have been caught 3 or 4 times. And honestly, I thought the first time, I was like, okay, good. She's going to have a problem here, and she have to figure out how to deal with it. And she's like, nope, I'm your commanding officer. And he's like, okay.
That was fine. That first part I thought was fine.
I didn't like that. And then they tried to do it again. And then she just, judo chopped the guy in the back. And I don't know.
She Mike Myers him.
Yeah. I'm just like, really? Okay.
I thought it was when she walks up to the desk table and she literally next to another trooper or next to some guy, and she's like, Obi-Wan, yeah. Where are I made it in. They didn't notice.
In a room that's completely silent.
In a room that's completely silent, and the soldier goes, what are you saying over there? I was like,
she escaped from 3 or 4 situations that was too much, and then getting away from the Inquisitor outright,
yeah.
No,
and
but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's go back to 3 if we're gonna start talking details.
Oh yeah. All right.
Because I think. I mean, I have issues with both, but 3 I think rubbed me the wrong way a lot of ways.
3 I felt like was a decent episode up until the end. I felt like everything before that was okay, but then and actually at the end there were cool parts, but I feel like they blew it.
I feel like this episode, and this is where the writing I think did not work for me. Everything felt really, really forced. So I first had a problem when Obi-Wan slipped up and it was like, Leia, and there was you said her name was whatever. Really? Obi-Wan was going to make that mistake? And once again, I know we just talked about he's not at his peak Jedi performance level, but at the same time, that just doesn't seem like a mistake that Obi-Wan makes, especially one who's trying to be super careful, super whatever. And you could say he was caught off guard or whatnot, but that seemed like a stupid error. So I didn't like that. I did not like that Freck. That was the name, Freck, right? The alien driver.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I did
That
not.
was voiced by some famous actor.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know that, and that actually makes more sense to what I'm about to comment on. I hated that he spoke with a human dialect, or basically, straight up spoke English. Like, and I know there's precedent for that in Star Wars. Like, plenty of aliens do that, but usually they're ones that either seem a little more humanoid or something like that. I don't know. The fact that he not only spoke English.
Zach Braff.
Oh, I know Zach Braff. That's the one from Scrubs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can kind of hear that, but now I get why they left his voice.
I heard his voice, and I was like, "That sounds like an actor." Like immediately.
I just didn't like it. Maybe maybe I am being nitpicky right here, but like when you do hear other aliens in the Star Wars universe speak a human dialect, which I mean I'm referring to English in this case, they at least still sound kind of alien or foreign about it. This guy's still like, "Hey Obi-Wan, my name's Freck." Like it was goofy, and I'm sure that's what they were going for, but it just didn't fit to me. Like this guy should have sounded like an alien or spoken the language that they could translate. I don't know. I didn't like that. Granted, nitpicky, but
prequels or not, a lot of those movies though had like totally different languages and they totally different planets.
We had like Watto who went back and forth. Watto would speak English in kind of his weird broken, accent, and then he'd speak. It made the world or the universe feel big. This shrinks it because everybody just speaks English. I know that's not how they've done every alien, and it's maybe just this one.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead. Keep
but
going.
yeah, that just rubbed me the wrong way. But once again, that's nitpicky. I could have let that go. Then you get to the checkpoint where they were trying to get through. And this is another small nitpicky thing, like
the one that Obi-Wan could have just
stepped over,
was moving it,
threw her over and flipped or walked around. Like, why was that a big deal? And then you get towards the end. I know I'm skipping a ways now, but the fact that what's the lady's name they pair up with? The fake Empire.
I don't remember. I know she was from Game of Thrones. She was one of the Sand Snake people.
Well, when they meet her character, then he's like, "Hey, get Leia out of here while I go, deal with this issue with Vader." And then she just straight up just like, "All right, kid, good luck." Like, you're gonna go back to help the Jedi who is trained in combat, who really should be handling that situation, and you're gonna let this defenseless little 10-year-old just run off.
There were so many problems with those decisions at the end. I just like it sucked because good.
No, well, that's what I mean. Like everything felt forced. Like they were trying to set up a moment. Nothing felt natural about it. It was like, let's make this character make a dumb decision so we can make this interaction happen or this get here. And that's not smart writing. Like they could have done it in a more natural way to where things happened and forced characters together, not something like this that, just feels really contrived.
Well, it really sucks because like the scene before that is one of the best scenes in the show so far. Like the way they treated Vader's initial opening when he first turns the corner and like Vader's Vader, man. He's brutal. He wants what he wants. And like, he's sitting there like playing with the civilians and killing them. He knows that Obi-Wan is somewhere in the vicinity watching. I'm sure he can sense him or something. So he's doing things to like antagonize him, he's trying to make his goodiness, trying to get him to like,
not his goodies.
He's trying to get him to show himself, and he's intentionally killing these people brutally. And it's like, yes, that's Vader. That's, and they got James Earl Jones, which immediately I was like, is it James Earl Jones? I know it's, James Earl. Yeah. And immediately I was like, yes, this is perfect. This is what I want. And they immediately messed that up, like you said, when they like split up and like, there was just so many inconsistencies. It was like, how did Reva get ahead of them all the way in the tunnel and get to the opposite end before?
Yeah, the tunnel system didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I can assume that, there's branching paths in there, but yeah, like it's really hard to, logistically think that through in that time frame and just, it doesn't play out well.
And then, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the whole battle between Obi-Wan and Vader the whole time, like...
I said it last week, I didn't want to see them confront just yet. Like, you could have teased Vader, like him walking down, or like seeing Obi-Wan across the way or something. I feel like, for one, they kind of wasted their hand here, having them confront each other. I know there's still more they can do, but I didn't like that. It's still, and the way that they handled it, like Obi-Wan
Yeah,
just kind
that's
of
what I was
runs
gonna
off
say.
all goofy. I don't know.
It was more annoying that like I was okay with that happening. I hated that like they made it into like a crappy battle, and there was no back and forth between these like
It
age old
it feels
enemies.
wasted. That's why I mean, like, so not only did they, I think, do it too soon, they didn't do it well. So now
No,
that
that's more
moment,
important in my opinion.
yeah, and that moment is kind of lost now. Man, you know they're gonna have more interactions as they go through the show, and they'll flesh it out. But
There's only 2 episodes left in this.
really, there's
Yeah,
only two.
I think there's only 6 episodes, and
Wow.
let me double check. I thought I heard that.
You might be right. I thought there was at least like an 8 episode run, and we were like halfway through because that's actually really disappointing because I don't feel like they can do too much more. Um, I don't know. But I guess I didn't like the
That's what I
confrontation.
heard. I don't know.
But you might be
No,
right. I didn't like that. Okay, so the fire thing. Like, so he puts out the fire with one force blast when he wants to, or when he starts trying to show off his power. And then when they cause that extra little fire explosion, he can't do it
couldn't put it
again.
out.
Yeah, he's just like, oh no, now this fire is going to prevent me from getting over.
Or Vader couldn't lift himself over the fire to the other side, or
Like, once again,
speed
it
run,
felt
like,
super contrived and it didn't make sense. Like, you give that.
or he couldn't just point his hand at Obi and just float him back towards him,
Right.
like.
With this super slow moving droid that took like 8 minutes to pick him up. It was like, I'm not one who's going to pick him, think of, 100 different other ways they could have done something. Like, you and me both have a friend that he hates situations in movies because, like, well, that could have happened and this could have happened. And
Yeah.
I don't like doing that because you could always think of, another alternative to solve a problem. But when it's this blatant and, like, clearly there were like 5 other things that could have happened that would have made more sense, then I do take an issue with it. I'm not looking for some
just 6 episodes for this season, just so you know.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think episode 3 is when it started to dip for me. It's not like I straight up hated everything, but I started seeing a lot of the chinks in the writing, the contrivances, and then going into 4 it just kind of continues that process.
I was hoping that like as Vader was getting like the burning was fine, like that made sense. He's trying to like put Obi-Wan through what he put him through, and his hate, that's fine. And I was kind of hoping when she was on the hill and shot, I was hoping she was going to take a shot at Vader, and he would have like instinctually just been like and caught the shot or something, and maybe that distracted him or something. Like I was hoping they would do that, but like you said, there were just so many like incongruities, or I don't know if I'd say that right, but like it didn't make sense. There's so many other cool decisions they could have done, and it just felt like somebody who like I don't know. I also feel like the problem is like knowing how powerful and how cool some of these characters are in the prequels. It's like dude, these like Obi-Wan in the first one is like flipping around doing backflips everywhere, and it's
I know he's old and out of it. We've mentioned that, but there has to be a point in this show where he comes back to being Obi-Wan, and I feel like we're not going to get that, or at least not a big build up to it. Like if it's only 6 episodes, then I don't know. There's not a lot of time for him to really do a whole lot. So I don't know. It's starting to feel very wasted overall. Like
I agree.
Here's the other thing I don't like about it. And this kind of just it's my issue with this whole storyline. It all feels like there's no stakes. Because here's the thing: we know nothing's going to happen to Vader. We know nothing's going to happen to Leia, and we know nothing's going to happen to Obi-Wan. They're all going to be fine or be back where they need to be because we know the movie that's following this. So although it's interesting to see these guys kind of play off each other a little bit, ultimately none of it matters. It's not like we're worried that all of a sudden Darth Vader is going to amputate off one of Obi-Wan's limbs in a battle or something. Nope, he's going to be fine. We know Leia's going to grow up and be fine. Apparently forget all about Obi-Wan. So like I don't know. I was hoping this Leia thing would be a much shorter stint in the season, and then Obi-Wan would have a different plot that they could build off of and have some stakes or something to warrant, which right now I'm just not feeling.
I agree with you. I almost don't know what they could possibly do. Like, and not in a good way. Like, I don't know what you do to raise the stakes or to make it
There's nothing you can do now.
From here on out.
Here's the thing. There's 2 episodes left, apparently. And he's just barely going to probably have enough time to get Leia back home. And then he's going to probably have one more big confrontation with Vader. And that's it. Like, what else are we going to get out of this at this point?
Do they really have time to touch on the big reveal in episode 4? Spoilers of what was down beneath the base? Is that ever going to get flushed out as to what that meant was pointing towards. The whole
Probably
like
not.
Vader hasn't been killing the Jedi; he's been collecting them and amber from the Jurassic Park franchise.
Yeah.
Like
Life
what
finds a way,
exactly?
man.
Like, yeah, is that what exactly does that mean? He's collecting them? Is he gonna do anything with
I don't
them?
know. I don't know. Are they thinking about trying to make another season of this show? Like, are they trying to, compartmentalize it that much? I thought this was going to be a one-off kind of deal, but now I'm not so sure.
I honestly, at this point, I don't know what they're going for.
Yeah.
I feel like what they have could have been cool, but again, the way they've gone about and the writing is just it's just kind of I don't want to say dumb, but it's just like it is. It's dumb. A lot of the ways they've gone about how they've kind of done a lot of this. Um and I guess we can go on to 4, right? That
Yeah.
kind of was that's
Our
where it
timer
leads.
only has 3.5 minutes, just saying.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, we don't have we're good. I actually think we still got a whole hour left, so we're good. So I guess what did I have in my notes? There was a couple things I did think were really cool. Getting to see oh, I forgot his name. What was his name? Christensen? What's his name?
Hayden?
Hayden Christensen. Yeah, getting to see him for like a very split second. Is that all they got him for? Was for that
It
one?
sounds like it.
Was that him? Oh.
Man, I don't know if that's worth it. I mean, because here's the thing: you got James Earl Jones doing the voice. I know Hayden's in the suit, so he's the guy walking around. But does that really matter? Like,
He got paid $20 million to show up and go, hey.
I mean, good for that guy. I'm not saying it's not, a good deal for him, but it's like, I don't know. It just feels like more of now a marketing thing more than anything else. Like, I was hoping there'd be like maybe a flashback or something with Hayden. They could have like some extra scenes that would have fleshed out something in the past. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if that was even needed, but
things have been rough since Jumper, man. He's got a who out there remembers Jumper?
Jumper actually wasn't terrible. It wasn't great.
I don't remember. I saw that movie once at a friend's house, and I don't remember anything.
It was forgettable, but anyways, yeah, he feels a little wasted. And I'll be honest, Ewan McGregor feels wasted right now. Like, I know the show is about him, but what's he's been in the same state now for pretty much all 3 of these past few episodes.
I'm going to hate it if they do it, but if this is a one-off and in the final episode or 2 they introduce something and decide to spin off of that to a new show, I'm going to be so angry if they just use this show as a spin-off or something else, which
wouldn't surprise me.
That's probably going to happen.
Well, I know they have what's that next show that's coming up from them? Andor, is that what it is?
Oh, who cares about Andor?
Well, I'm wondering if this will lead into it, because it's going to be about that time, right? In the next few years after this, you'd get to that part in the timeline, and that gets to this movies, et cetera, et cetera.
What was that, Rogue One or whatever? I think that was the name of the movie with Andor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't care.
No, I'm with you.
But I guess we'll go into episode 4. Let's see. What did I see? Oh, I guess right off the bat, I kind of really liked the tank scene between Obi-Wan and Vader. Like when he's like recouping and he's kind of seeing what kind of Vader had to go through, I guess, for a minute,
Which
I thought that was interesting. At the very beginning of episode 4, when he is recovering from his burns, she puts him in a vat.
Oh yeah,
of some sort of healing
tank.
gel
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Tank,
I'm with you.
And like he starts to kind of like see what Vader or
they were drawing the parallels
Anakin,
there. Yeah,
the parallels. I thought that was kind of cool for a split second, but then immediately after that, it was like some of the dumbest writing. Like right off the bat with this episode, like I noticed it. There's I have it right here. Oh. The scene where Obi-Wan, the lady, and Leia go up to, I could tell it was Ice Cube's son, that actor. I knew I knew him from somewhere. But they go up to him and they're doing all this, and Obi-Wan, it was like the worst line ever. He says, "You have no idea what the Empire is capable of." And I'm like, what? Like, no, doesn't everyone in this universe know what the Empire is capable of? Like,
well,
aren't they like in control of everything?
They are. I mean, I don't. It sounds like at this point they haven't showed themselves to be like the true evil empire. They're doing some evil stuff. Oh, our timer just went off. We still going?
We're almost done. We have a couple more.
All right, fine. Well, that'll at least be our cue then. It sounds like the empire is not fully like full on evil to everybody's knowledge yet. Like they're doing evil stuff, but like the one guy Freck was like, it's kind of nice to have someone give control. Like some people are probably still like in an acceptance phase, so I don't know. It might be still just early on, but I don't know.
No, yeah. Either way, I didn't think. I don't know. Just some of the conversations, and even just like you said, it's even just how the dialogue is like done. It felt weird and just I don't know. I feel like the writing immediately in this episode kind of threw me off. Trying to think, where did they go after that? I guess they went immediately into the plan, right?
Yeah.
Because they recruited those two fighters or people, the drivers or whatever, and then they immediately went into their whole plan of like trying to sneak in. Um, I guess just a couple things I had is I thought it was pretty cool to kind of see Obi-Wan throughout the episode, kind of regaining some of his abilities. Like, I don't know. I mean, he kind of does mainly just deflecting, but I kind of like the scene when he saves Leia from that dark room. I mean, that was kind of neat. But even though it was neat, I mean, it was kind of stupid for. I don't know if you noticed, but he kills the one trooper, and then in the pitch black dark, with the one trooper being killed, the other trooper says, "I got you" or something. There's no escaping, and it's like, dude, you should. That was like the dumbest thing. You're in the dark, and your partner just got killed in front of you. Like, why are you like throwing down the gauntlet for a Jedi Master? Like, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of
show
ridiculous.
No fear. That's the Stormtrooper motto, right? I don't know.
I guess. I mean, I have no idea. I will also say I was defending Reva, and I still will, but I do think at this point it's just like she kind of sucks a little bit. I mean, she's not.
She's fine.
Again, I'm not saying she's bad enough of the hate that she was getting. Absolutely not. But I'm saying she hasn't been great. I think that's the problem. Is that a lot of the not just her. Like, I think the writing is just poor. Like for her character in certain parts, and I don't know. Some things feel kind of like samey.
We haven't gotten a lot of background for anything to make us really like. What's her real motive behind this? Like. I'm trying to almost draw like comparisons to like what is it, Jedi Fallen Order, where they kind of were teasing some background stuff about that Inquisitor who was chasing you down. 'Cause she was another sister, right? So
she was the third sister, I think.
Yeah, and they were
or was it second sister?
One of the numbers. But the point is like they were dropping little tidbits on there was some relationship with your current little master lady, or there was something going on. Like there was something more interesting about her character that you didn't know it yet, but there was like an interest to want to know what was motivating her. I haven't seen that with Reva yet. She's mad, she wants power, and that's all I really get from her, unless I'm missing something. Like, I'm sure there is a backstory there's some motivation, but they haven't done a lot to help me really care about that. I'm not saying that's even the actor's fault. That's the writers not giving her the right information to relay or the right relationship with people to have. Like, it just feels lacking.
I think what they're getting at is, I guess technically, I think at the time when Order 66 happened, this is all just me guessing. I think technically Obi-Wan was probably the highest ranking Jedi, even though no, I guess Yoda technically still was around at that time too. But maybe Obi-Wan was like, I don't know. Again, the whole thing is that she and all of her youngling friends were killed, and maybe they were expecting Obi-Wan. Maybe Obi-Wan was on that planet at the time. Maybe Obi-Wan, they were just expecting him to come save them, and he never did, and that's why her hate is for Obi-Wan.
And that's a real crappy motivation if it is. I mean, I know you're just kind of speculating here, but okay, she
hates him for not saving her. I don't know.
But that's something that, as an adult, if you took a step back from and thought about, you shouldn't be holding that kind of grudge. I don't think. I mean, granted, people hold grudges about a bunch of random stupid stuff, but there's not a big enough thread there, I think, to really be a good meaty motivation. Unless Obi-Wan was like directly, in charge of that set of younglings, I don't know, or had a direct tie there, because we saw Obi-Wan in the whole last set of movies. That was not his job. His job was to train Anakin. He had missions he went on. So why would it be his responsibility to come back and save the younglings more than any of the other Jedis? Now, she might be mad at just Jedis in general, and I can understand that. Like, the Jedis were supposed to protect us kind of thing, and they let us down, let all my friends die, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, that still wasn't the Jedi's fault. She saw the Empire at that time, the Republic before they were the Empire, come and slaughter everyone. They saw it as she saw who was at fault. If that's the case, if she was one of these younglings or young Jedis.
Well, I think what they'll do is they'll use the whole framework of Vader got a hold of her immediately after that and indoctrinated her into thinking Obi-Wan or somebody could have saved them. That's what I'm guessing. You know what I mean?
If
or
so,
maybe torture.
I feel like that's going to be a really poor way to tie her into this. Like, that's not, I think, a tight enough stake or a tight enough relationship for me. It's because it's forced. Like, I don't know. I'll wait and see. I know we're kind of speculating here, so it's really hard to say. But as of this point, there's not enough connecting a motivation to what she's trying to do with me caring about what she's trying to do, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I don't think the acting is straight up bad across the board by anybody, but it's just fine at the best. Nothing's really stood out as, oh, that was a really cool performance, or that was a really cool scene. It just feels like bad
writing. That's all it is.
It feels like forced, contrived writing that isn't fleshed out, maybe where it should be. And I don't know if it's just you, but these episodes feel short to me. Maybe it's because I just came off. The last
one was like 35 minutes.
I mean, maybe it's because I just came off watching Stranger Things, which some of their episodes are like an hour and a half long, so it's not a fair comparison. But even though I know they're doing a lot of things in the episodes, it ends and I feel like nothing happened. I don't know, or not enough happened to push it along.
First 3 episodes were all like 45 minutes or over, and then the fourth episode was like 35. It's like, dude, why are they all not the same length? Why are they all different length? You know what I mean? It's really weird.
And then here we only have 2 more episodes. This doesn't give me a lot of confidence they're going to wrap it up well. All right, we should move on. Our timer went off way too long ago, and my goal is to push us forward.
I just wanted to say one more thing. Seeing as how bad the show has been to this point, something small I guess I kind of wanted to see would have been like some sort of scene between Leia and Vader, even though I'm not quite sure how that would have worked. At least like something small, like maybe if Vader had seen her and just was like,
that's gonna get tricky because here's the thing: they can sense each other, and you would think that he would be able to sense this Force-sensitive child, and I mean that I think just causes potential more lore issues. Like the way he freaking found out about Leia in the first place is Luke just thought about her. So honestly, I'm a little worried now that he's going to get around Obi-Wan while he's thinking about Leia and read Obi-Wan's mind and be like, oh, and that just opens up a whole nother can of worms as far as lore being messed up. So I don't know. I think keeping him and Leia away is the safe bet without, butchering any of the future continuity. I don't know. I'm slowly losing hope for this show. Go ahead.
The only cool things for this whole show for me so far have been Ewan and Vader. Like the fact that James Earl Jones is back. Like every time Vader shows up, it's like
that's not enough for me. Not enough for me.
It's not enough though. Like it's like watching the whole Rogue One movie and just to get to that final 20 minutes again, like that movie. It's like.
Maybe it's because Disney's already played this too many times with the nostalgia hits, like, hey, here's that character you like, oh, here's this character you like. But I've now seen them butcher a lot of the characters I like. I mean, they did that with Luke, and that was probably I think, the biggest knife in the back as far as how they handled that character. So I don't have a lot of confidence in how they handle these nostalgic characters, so just seeing them doesn't even work for me anymore. I want to see them handled well if they're going to bother bringing them back. And not that they've done anything overly terrible with them yet, but they also haven't done anything overly great with them yet. It's just like, especially if it's only 6 episodes and all we get out of this is another quick confrontation with Obi-Wan and Anakin, that I don't think that warranted whatever this production cost to do. Like, could have left it in a book. So,
yeah,
or a mini movie.
It just kind of sucks knowing that, like, I guess I don't really care now about the final 2 episodes. I feel like they kind of blundered it up a little bit, and I'm just like I'll watch it, but I certainly am not like super tantalized in finding out how they're gonna. Again, I don't know how they're gonna end it.
There's no thread pulling me to anything. Because once again, no stakes for what they're doing right now. Like the whole Leia thing, is gonna resolve and be fine. So what are they pulling you towards in this show? Like another confrontation with Obi-Wan and Anakin? Okay, fine. But what is that even going to do? What is that going to be? Clearly, they're trying to set up something with Reva. But once again, there's nothing being really, kind of poised there as far as what that motivation is. So that's going to drop last minute and feel like, okay, it's going to feel kind of rushed by the time they actually do explain what her motivation was. Unless she's been dropping a lot of hints and I'm an idiot and the writers are a genius and I'm not catching on. But right now, it just feels wasted. This whole thing just feels like wasted potential. But
I agree.
that's my last statement.
But yeah, that's my last statement. So that's kind of our thoughts on Obi-Wan once again. I enjoyed the first two. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm hoping they can stick the landing with the last two. Hopefully they're longer than the 30 minutes on the last one, but I don't know. We will see. Check back in maybe next week. I don't know. When's it? I don't
They
even
drop
know when
on
the next
Wednesdays.
episode comes out. Wednesdays? Okay. All right. So with that, we're gonna move on to let's see. I guess to start off with, we're gonna move over to some of the festivities. I guess kind of going on over with the Summer Games Fest, which has kind of been going on over the last few days. And just to kind of blast through real quick, there was a little announcement. I think like either the same or a couple days prior to that. And I don't know. I figured we'd touch on this first, Phoenix. But there was an announcement that I don't know if I'm guessing the ESA is the one that put this out.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they have announced that E3 will be returning in 2023 in online and in person. So I actually haven't read this article, but I felt like maybe we could blast through it real quick.
Yeah, they don't mention a whole lot.
We don't have to even. We can just. What are your thoughts?
Well, anybody who's been listening to this podcast for a little while, we talked about E3 a while back when it kind of disappeared this year, and I mentioned I was sad it was going away. It offers a moment where everybody can kind of get together and just celebrate games, and I think people are like, "Oh, we don't need that anymore. These digital events have kind of taken over," but not really. Like, especially now, I know we're about to talk about Summer Game Fest, but for those who have watched it, I don't know if they have the same feelings as me, but I was pretty let down by it. So clearly that is not a replacement for E3. Now, there's other, publisher events that are going to be streamed throughout the next week or so, but a lot of stuff hasn't even been announced, or a lot of publishers haven't. I don't think Sony's announced. Have they announced when they're doing another thing besides the thing they did about a week ago? So
Sony hasn't. A lot of people are wondering about Nintendo.
Hasn't. So Microsoft is the only one I'm now looking forward to. And I don't know, just there's no hype right now. It's all kind of just like, okay. So
the State of Play was more entertaining than Summer Games Fest so far, personally.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I thought that was a good event for Sony, but still, when are we going to see Ragnarok? Or at this point, are they just not going to do that for like 2 or 3 months out? And for one, I think that's a bad sign. I think that means something's not quite ready with that game and they're holding off. But I don't know. Maybe it's just because I have been around long enough to experience the E3s kind of in most of their big glory. And it was fun. You get to get hyped up for a week. Then you get a week of all these little things come from all the publishers. You get to talk about it then for another week or two. I'm not feeling like this is going to be that anymore. Like, it's going to be drops kind of spread out over maybe like a month and a half. And I don't know. The hype's just not there. I agree
with you. The celebration aspect is what was most entertaining, where it was like, I don't know. It was like
the big production of it, like the energy the crowd brings. Yeah, exactly.
Like a Super Bowl for nerds.
Here's the thing: yes, they can drop a trailer for a game whenever they want, and I mean that's fine from a marketing standpoint. But that doesn't get the excitement up there. You could have released the same trailer during an E3 event, or then 2 months out from an E3 event. It's gonna feel more exciting at E3 and have more of an impact because of everything else going on around it. So I feel like we're just losing that too. In these trailers that drop, I'm just like, okay, it's another game. I'm not getting to see the developers fumble on the stage and talk about it, which I like. I like seeing the weird, crappy productions when they try to like show their foot for a Connect video or something. It all freaks out on stage. Like those cool moments.
There also are like really good in-person moments. Like I don't know if you remember, but
Keanu, that was a breathtaking moment right there.
Keanu was a breathtaker. You're a breathtaker. But no, there were really cool stuff. Like I remember, like a really heartfelt moment was when the one developer at Ubisoft, when they were releasing Mario and Rabbids. Remember, he had actually
little cannon thing, and Miyamoto.
Miyamoto was actually in the crowd, and Miyamoto was giving him the thumbs up when he was showing the game off. Yeah. And I remember he was crying up on stage, and it's like, oh, dude, he's happy. Miyamoto's in the crowd, loving.
Like there are cringy moments, but there's also really cool moments, and it's stuff that is like baked into my gamer encyclopedia of like all the cool things that have happened, and you're not getting that with these digital streams. They are too polished and curated, and they're fine, but they lack personality. They lack the excitement. They're just trailers. It feels more marketing than anything else.
Fallout 4 was a big thing. I remember we were all huddled around TV like, ooh, Fallout 4. That was like the biggest thing in E3 history at the time.
Yeah. So no, I am glad E3 is coming back. It's been too, I don't know, it's left a hole, and I think people don't quite realize it yet. And I saw some poll, people were still like, oh, we don't care if E3 comes back, or they don't think it's going to be worth it. I tell you, if they missed another year of E3, I think people's tune would change. Because I think this hole that's leaving is only going to grow as the years go on. 'Cause what's going to happen is it's not going to feel like a big event during summer at all. People are just going to spread out their announcements all year, and we just lose this type of event altogether. Because let's be real, Jeff Keighley isn't doing it for me. Like, between the Game Awards and the Summer Game Fest, it's not a replacement. It's nice that it's there. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be a thing. I mean, kudos on him for putting it all together, but it is not what E3 was, and I want to see it come back, and I'm glad to see that it is coming back.
I think it purely is the in-person aspect. Like, I think even if E3 were to have come back this year in the digital form,
it would have been lacking. You're right.
It still lacks. Like, I feel like the whole in-person thing, when you can't substitute live people in a crowd. Like, there's almost nothing you can do.
Those moments can't happen. That breathtaking moment could not have happened if it would have been staged on a green screen somewhere where Keanu just walked out with no interaction from the audience. So we need those moments. We need that back. I know you got people worried about COVID and whatnot, and warranted. I get it. But I want to see these events come back full swing in person, whatever kind of restrictions are necessary.
And COVID isn't over, but like for the most part, everything is opened back up. It's like,
well, that depends on where you're at. I mean, different places across the nation, across the globe, have different policies, but things are getting more back to normal.
Where in California, I think.
Yeah.
Typically, LA. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it all depends. I mean, I would think it's safe enough where like all these other sporting events, concerts are still going back on. It's like.
There's precedent to go and open it back up. Now, people are going to argue the safeties of it, and I'm not going to get into that by any means.
No,
but,
I agree.
Regardless, I'm glad it's coming back. And I think just to kind of solidify that, let's go ahead and talk about Summer Games Fest. And
yep, I'll switch over.
It's disappointing. Like, it's not that there was anything terrible here either. I mean, there was some fine stuff there, but nothing super exciting to me. There was one thing I really cared about, which we can talk about that when it gets here. But everything else is kind of like, meh.
Do you want to just go one by one, or do you just want to talk? Because I have the whole list on the doc.
We can skip through, throw some B-roll, and we'll just kind of run through.
Yeah. So I guess one of the major things to freaking start the whole thing off is they announced Guile is coming back to Street Fighter 6, which I don't see how that was an announcement. I mean, I believe Guile has been in every single Street Fighter game, so it's
I thought that was kind of like whatever. I didn't play Street Fighter 5, but in I would assume he was in there, and if not, he should have been.
He's like one of the integral, Street Fighter characters.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the game looks cool. I never played a lot of Street Fighter. Street Fighter 4 was the one I started to get back into. 5, I didn't even touch.
That's the same one for me with Street Fighter 4. I played it for a very short. That was 360 time, right?
Yeah. But it looks cool. I like the colorful kind of animations they got going on, the kind of paint splatter stuff. I mean, it looks neat. And go ahead. No, I was
just saying backgrounds are always my thing when it comes to fighting games. Like Mortal Kombat, I always love just watching the backgrounds and fighting.
Well, this one they're doing looks like it harkens back to 2, because I feel like there wasn't there this like air carrier one or very similar to it?
I think they said it's almost the same thing because there's even some of the same characters in the background doing things.
So that's cool. No, I mean, I think this looks fine.
Are there any characters you really want to see come back? I mean, I know Blanca. We need Blanca. I mean,
I'm not a big enough Street Fighter fan to say, man. I was more of a Soul Calibur. What was the other fighting game? Mortal Kombat.
Tekken?
No, I don't have Mortal Kombat slipped my mind. A little bit of Tekken. But no, I mean, Street Fighter I enjoy, but doesn't quite, get me excited like those other ones would. But it looked fine.
I will say this event, at least for the primary 2-hour event, it was chock filled of which is something I love, is space horror games, which I actually love. Like that's like one of my favorite, genres. I love space or sci-fi, and I love horror. Like combined all that makes me happy. But another one, the second one they talked about was something, I don't know if it was actually, I thought it was a sequel to a previous Aliens game. What was the one that just came out? I thought it was a sequel to that one.
Well, they had Isolation, then they had, was it Fireteam Elite or something like that?
That's Fireteam something. I thought it was a sequel to that one, but it turns out this is a new game, which is called Dark Descent. Um, and they barely showed much about this. If you look, I'll switch over. Towards the very end, they show a very short snippet of gameplay, and it looks like some sort of. I'm thinking it looks like a twin stick shooter from what I saw. I don't know if you can see, but right here, it looks like it's an overhead, maybe twin stick, right?
That does. Here's the thing: they could just have a camera just on the corner capturing first-person gameplay too, or third-person. Like, I don't think you can judge by that because you're not really seeing true gameplay there. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Just judging from this, it looks like it might be either twin stick or it could be like an XCOM type where you have like a group of people.
I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be twin stick.
Then it's probably an RPG.
I don't know.
Because you have like little tiny. I don't know.
But games do this all the time, though. Like, to show you, like, scope, they'll pan. Remember, this is not necessarily the gameplay. They could have in-engine moved the camera to get a certain perspective. I mean, I could be wrong, too. I mean, you might be 100% right, but I wouldn't base the entire assumption off just that. Like, that could have just been an editing trick to put the camera out to show a cool scene.
Just looking to see. So it says... Here, I'm going to... Focus Interactive. What do they primarily make? Let me just look, because that's who's developing it. Focus is a French video game developer.
Sports games.
Sherlock Holmes,
Cycling
Trackmania,
Manager.
Cycling.
Virtual Skipper.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't really... I don't think you're getting a good squad-based action. I don't know. Oh, well. It doesn't matter. But yeah.
We'll find out more. I mean, the last Aliens games haven't been bad. Isolation, I know, was really good.
I loved Isolation. It went on way too long, but it was a fun game.
I heard middling or mixed things on Fire Teams, but there were enough people I know that enjoyed it for what it was. So, keep it going.
And the best one everyone remembers, Colonial Marines.
Yeah.
That's everyone's favorite.
Yep. Haha.
All right. So, and another one is
your favorite.
Actually, one of my more anticipated games. That's coming up is Callisto Protocol. This is the same exact trailer they showed during the State of Play event, so nothing really new. I guess the only thing new was they added, there was just a gameplay demo, or very short gameplay trailer, I should say, and it looks cool. This is Dead Space. It's basically just Dead Space. Glenn Schofield, the creator of Dead Space, is making this game. He doesn't seem like he's drifting very far off the beaten path. He's just making a new Dead Space game in a different world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, good for him. Or good for the team. That I know there was a lot of, what's a good way to say it? It's like the developers kind of got screwed over a little bit on one of the Dead Spaces, didn't they? Like they either got taken off, or didn't get a chance to like make the game they wanted to, something like that.
I don't remember. It was definitely 3 if that was the case, because 3 was the one nobody liked.
Yeah, I feel like there was an issue there, and I could be wrong on the logistics of it, but it seems like the developers are getting a chance to make the game they wanted to make, and that's good. But yeah, I mean, it looks like Dead Space. I didn't even play much Dead Space, but it looks like Dead Space.
They just went off the beaten path with 3.
Just watch a guy get grinded up. Glad I didn't show that.
The games were like totally different. Like 1 was felt like a true survival horror game. And then 2 kind of drifted a little more action-y, but still had those elements. And then 3 was just totally an action game with like no survival horror elements. Nothing was particularly scary. It was just like, I don't know.
Fair enough.
But major game for me. Another one was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The trailer, it's like a remaster of that game, which I think this is actually the last major Call of Duty game that I played through and through. Was Modern Warfare 2. Actually, I think I did play Ghosts at your house, but I only did like the first missions or 2. That was when you first got your Xbox One.
Right.
So I was like, I wanted to kind of just see what the Xbox looked like. So yeah, nothing crazy. To me, it just looks like more Call of Duty. I don't know. I hate to say it.
Did you?
It looks fun though.
Did you play the Modern Warfare remake they did last time?
Nope.
I'm curious, and I haven't played them. Is it literally just like a remake of the original ones, and it's just rebuilt,
I think so.
Or is it a new storyline for it?
I think it's just the same game, just built from the ground up.
I thought I heard there was some new stuff. I could be wrong. I don't know. Because that just seems like why, or why remake it? make the next Modern Warfare. So I think it's because, you know, all these characters end up dying.
You
Spoiler
know
alert.
why.
But still.
Money.
Well, no. But I mean,
That's
like,
why.
they could have done this, make Modern Warfare. Oh, what was the last numbered one they did? Was 3 the last numbered one? I think it might have been before they went to like Advanced and stuff like that. They could have made a Modern Warfare 4, and it could have, you know, they could have found these characters in another mission maybe before they all bit the bullet.
The 4 remake was really good though, from what I heard.
Oh, I heard it was like, good, and I'm sure this will be good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know, like, why remake the exact same story? I know that's kind of the thing right now, but I'd rather see some new stuff. It feels kind of wasted. If I want to go back and do the story of Modern Warfare 2, I'll go back and play Modern Warfare 2. To me, it doesn't feel that dated. Maybe I'm just getting old and it doesn't matter, but...
See, I have that exact same opinion with another game that's coming
yeah,
that actually arguably would be like the biggest game on here, which, I don't know, you probably know.
Yeah, we're talking about Last of Us. No, I know.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll move on. To me, again, feels like Call of Duty. I'm actually kind of interested in this one. I think what gets my interest up is just kind of knowing Battlefield is so kind of far gone at this point. Now I'm kind of curious to try a Call of Duty game now that Halo Infinite's out of the way too. You know what I mean? Now I'm kind of open to maybe playing some sort of shooter. But
I guess I guess I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I don't need to play the newest one. Also, I've missed so many. I could go back and play the last Modern Warfare and see how that one turned out. But you know, I'm sure those who are into the franchise still, it looks like a quality Call of Duty game, so I'm sure it will be.
Mm-hmm. So we'll move on to another one that I thought kind of looked interesting. Was a game called Witchfire.
This one actually looks interesting.
Yeah, it looked like, I tried to explain. It looked like a shooter,
magic
that
shooter.
Was medieval. Yeah, it looks really weird. I was kind of interested in it. I had another opinion. I forgot what it was, because when I was watching it earlier, I was like, it looks like this. Oh, it just looks like Doom. It looks like medieval Doom, which kind of looks cool.
Yeah.
That was my
yeah, but I like it. If I was going to get back into playing a shooter, I'd play this before I play the new Call of Duty.
There's another game out that I really want to play called Hell. Is it Hellbender? It's a game that's music. I don't know if you know this, but it's like a Doom kind of. But
the one that's on the beat. Isn't it called I want to say it's called a BPM or something like that.
No, it's called Hell something.
Well, it's a new one. There was an original one that called, I think, BPM or something like that, and this one's kind of like another one in that genre. So it's not the first that does it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Called?
I'm curious if I can find.
Oh, I kind of want to real quick look it up.
I'll see if I can find that BPM one too.
Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah, BPM bullets per minute. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I'm thinking of Hellsinger. Yeah, that comes out in September. But it's really queer. I'll actually see if I can. Was Hellsinger one that was shown here? Did I have it?
No, I didn't see it.
Nah, either way. But Hellsinger is actually they went out, it's developer, they went out and they got all of these metal and rock singers to come out and make songs for their game. And basically it's like Doom, but
it's timed.
Every time you shoot, you have to you get more points depending on if you shoot along the beat of the song that's playing.
Yeah, they got the idea from this BPM game I've been talking about.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, BPM came out in... when was this come out? Well, that says 2020, so it's been a while.
But this one's cooler because it has metal music in it.
This one does too. You look up BPM here in a minute when you're done.
Actually, I'll show you right quick. It was already here. Yeah. So I'm showing you, but yeah, they got all these different peoples, and it's, I don't know, it just looks like Doom, but just you're playing with just metal music blasting. I think it looks fun.
Who's the developer on it?
Oh, it's the something. It's on his jacket. I remember if I can find it.
Funcom. Supermassive.
Come on, there was a part. Let me just get to the end. No. Oh, it's like the something. I don't remember.
The something.
It's on this guy's jacket. If I can.
It's okay, and you don't have to look it up.
They're the Outsiders. Okay. But yeah, that game looks kind of cool. I've been seeing this one for a long time. So.
Yeah, no, it looks neat.
We went on a tangent here. So another one is another weird space sci-fi horror game. A game called Fort Solace. This is definitely something I have. That Troy Baker's in it, but definitely one I have kind of on my radar. Again, I like
You
stuff
like
like
The
that. Well,
Rock?
Shirtless Rock. That's my game right there. Yeah. So we went on from Fort Solace. Oh, this thing is. I thought this thing, like the chapters were correct. They are not correct at all. So he's showing off a game. We had DLC for the game Outriders called World Slayer. That was a game I wanted to play, but I don't think you ever were interested.
What, Outriders?
Yeah,
Um, a little
it's
bit. I
like a
know it's kind of a
Gears of War
Destiny.
like.
It was like a Gears Destiny mix kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. I was interested, but I heard like as soon as it came out, it had a whole bunch of issues, like you could lose your progress, like with a glitch or something. Like, I'm not messing with that. And then by the time I, thought about me getting back into it, nobody was playing it anymore. So,
Well, I would be open to playing it at some point. But yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, Gears of War, Destiny, maybe. Oh well. Let's see. We got some Fall Guys. What did I? Let me just go down my list and look at what stuck out to me. I know. What do we have? Goat Simulator. Oh, okay, so there was another one, a game called. We've known about this one for a while, but Marvel Midnight Suns.
yeah, it's kind of like, isn't it like a tactics like car? Is that the card one or is
Yes.
that just the tactics one?
It's a tactics one because it's made by people who made the XCOM games. This game I'm actually kind of worried about, though. I feel like this might be an interesting one to talk about because if they are going along the lines of an XCOM, part of the thing that people love about because it's for Axis, they make XCOM and all those type of games. Part of the thing that people like about the XCOM games is the fact that your people in your group, people in your team, it ratchets up the excitement because your guys could die at any moment, and when your characters die, or one that you've specifically created or named and all that stuff, and when they die, it's permanent. So that's what makes it like super intriguing in the battles. And it's like, well, if in this game, if the people on your teams are like Spider-Man, Wolverine, it's like, well, are they gonna? Can they die? Which I seriously doubt that'd be the
Well, I mean,
case.
I'm not sure how they do it, but they don't have to necessarily die. They could be still taken out in one various way or form. Like, I don't know what the plot is of this, but it looked like she just, like, what, possessed Venom there or did something or
Something
transferred him
like that.
somewhere. So what if when they lose, that happens to him? Then you can't play as him again. Like, there are probably ways to take him off your roster without having to kill him off, because I know canonically that might cause a problem, but maybe not. Maybe they will kill off some superheroes. That'll be fun. I don't know.
It's hard to say that I'm interested in this game because I still haven't seen gameplay. I think most people are expecting it to be an XCOM like because that's all Firaxis like makes.
Right.
But yeah, it looks kind of cool. She has some superheroes that she's turned evilly. That looks cool.
See, so maybe when one of your characters gets caught, they turn evil, and then you got to face them. See, that'd be kind of cool.
Here's Hulk. Yeah, me smash.
Evil Hulk.
I don't know. I'm a sucker for some Marvel games, but we will see. I'm interested, but I'm cautiously optimistic about this one.
Okay.
So let's see. Anything else? There was some Cuphead DLC. I still haven't played Cuphead. Still want
Cuphead's
to play
pretty
that
good.
at some point.
It's hard though.
I want to
You can't
that
play
one
hard games though, so you'll never get through it.
I want to play that.
You'll be like that guy who couldn't get through the tutorial on Cuphead and couldn't jump over the wall.
And then I'll write an angry review on it
Yeah.
immediately after.
This is a terrible
Couldn't get
game.
past. Hated this game.
Yeah.
I guess another one that's super cool. Here's Shredder's Revenge.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is one we're all excited for.
Oh, I'm gonna show off too, because I didn't realize. I knew that Limited Run was doing the collector's edition, and when I first saw the collector's edition, I'm like, it kind of looks like whatever. I didn't see the middle tier where you get the game in a freaking VHS box. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's like the $60 version.
I've been buying mini games lately. I've been trying to hold off. I'm getting that though. That thing looks freaking awesome.
I was thinking about doing the same thing.
I'm gonna throw it up here on the screen too. I know you can't see it on yours. I'll just put it on my end.
I looked at it. I saw a picture of it.
But for those who
it looks
haven't,
cool. Yeah, it's in like a VHS case, and it comes with like 3 or 4 items from the big collector's edition.
you get the steelbook. Steelbook looks fine. You get looks like reversible colors,
I wanted the
stickers.
pizza card.
Yeah,
That's
you
all
get
I
a
want, is just
freaking free pizza.
That's all I want is that free pizza card.
The problem is I usually don't open up my limited run collector stuff, but I want to get that free pizza. So I got to figure I can get the code out.
But I agree. Like that's the one I would go with. I don't want to do it this paycheck, so I would have to reach into one of my other accounts. But I think if they're still available next paycheck, I want to buy them.
Well, it says they're running till July.
We got plenty of time then.
Yeah, and I don't think it says. I'm looking to see if it says limited pre-production, because that's the thing. Sometimes they'll be limited, and you have to get them with on time. But a lot of times they just make them to production. It says pre-orders close on Sunday. Yeah, there is no purchase limit on this item, so as long as you get it before July 24th, you're golden. So.
Sweet.
Yep.
But yeah, kind of cool is they said that recently they said Casey Jones is in there, and it can be up to 6 players. But the 6 players is a certain mode, so I'm kind of curious.
I'm curious how that's gonna work.
How that's gonna work.
Yeah, like I haven't tried to hook up 6 controllers to any of my systems. I didn't know it was something they were capable of. I'm assuming, is that a mode for? Because it says local too.
It's a specific game mode.
Can you hook up 6 controllers to your Switch? I mean, maybe you can.
Is that what you were gonna buy yours for, Switch?
Well, I mean,
no, 'cause it's
I'm gonna play it on
Pass.
Game Pass. I was just curious,
Yeah.
like, can you hook up 6 controllers on your Xbox? The reason I
think
always
you can only do 2.
your Xbox can
You
do
have
4.
two USB and then one on USB on the back. I think you only have 3 to 4. Well, I don't know how
We're
many
talking
ports you
wireless
have,
on your Xbox.
Oh, I was thinking. Sorry, my brain.
It's hard because I still think back to the 360 days where 4 is the only number I can think of because you had your little circle, could only do a quarter each. So I don't know. 6 seems like a lot, but that also seems awesome. So that probably is accurate. I know they made it where you can have a lot of characters in Smash, so apparently that functionality is there. But
coming to Game Pass. Oh yeah.
well, I just saw that little Donatello sprite where he's playing a Game Boy. That's pretty cool.
So cool. But yeah, that's when me and Phoenix and the buddies. I think we're all gonna play that one. I definitely want to stream it at some point.
It's awesome that's coming to Game Pass. Like honestly, that's the game I'm most excited about that they announced during this whole thing. Was, I mean, not announced. I knew the game was coming out, but I didn't realize it was Game Pass, and I don't know if I even knew it was so soon. If a date had been announced prior to this. So, was it next week? It's coming out. That's great.
Another one I really liked again, the game Hellsingers. I love metal. I love killing demons. That's gonna be cool. I definitely want to play that on stream.
Yep, check out the BPM too. You'll probably like that.
Not quite sure how much it'll be, but I'm willing to. If it's under 30, I'd be willing to throw them some money just to play it. I'll have to look into the copyright though. Those songs better not be copyrighted or else I'm.
Well, you know they're copyrighted. I mean, that's a good point. You'll probably have some issues playing those unless they're like, I don't know, distorted somehow or different variations of it. I don't know. No monetization for you.
But let's see. What do we else? We got The Quarry. That's a game me and Phoenix were talking about off stream. I definitely want to play. It's made by those people that made I keep forgetting the name of that game.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. Definitely one I want to play.
Yeah, I'd probably play that one or watch somebody play it. Like I didn't play Until Dawn, but I watched a few playthroughs of it. I mean, it's campy B movie horror kind of stuff, which is kind of cool.
Let's see what else we got. Nightingale. We got Warhammer. Layers of Fear. I've never played any of these games, but these are ones I've definitely been wanting to play. They're more horror based, they're like walking simulators, but horror element type things.
This was done by Bloober Team. Everybody thought they were making the next Silent Hill.
I don't think that ever was.
I know it wasn't a thing, but that was the big rumor when they heard about this horror game come from Bloober Team. Bloober Team's also, they were the ones who made the Medium. Yep. So everybody was all up in arms about that. So I find it funny that this is what we're getting.
I don't see why people were excited about that because honestly, Bloober Team to this point, in my opinion, or from what I've seen from reviews, they haven't really made like a really super critically acclaimed game to this point. So I don't see why I mean, I get it. They were excited because of this.
No, people were not excited. That was the thing. People
weren't.
Yeah, no, they were worried because the last big thing they made, I think, was the Medium. And correct me if I'm wrong there.
The Medium and Layers of Fears.
And people were not. I mean, Medium was kind of mixed, from what I understand. I mean, I watched some of it. It looked all right, but people were like, "I don't want these guys making Silent Hill. That last game wasn't scary enough." Blah 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 blah.
That's where I was going. Is that I don't. If people were excited, I don't see why because they haven't made like a critically acclaimed game to date. So I don't know. crapping on Bloober Team there.
It's hard to say that, though. I mean, just because they haven't had a critical hit doesn't mean this next one won't be. So I'm not going to, knock down their potential. But
then they talked about Gotham Knights, which is a game.
Are you excited about this at all?
I'm not excited. I'm very cautious when it comes to this title because it's just there's nothing really exciting coming out of it. There's no Batman. There's the gameplay from what I've seen looks very. It just looks kind of bland. It looks very bland. I think that's my problem with what I've seen from this game.
I think what's going to hurt this is people. Yeah, I know it's not the same, but they're still comparing this to like Arkham. And this is not going to be that. Like the combat has some similarities. It looks like, but it looks I can't say it plays, but it looks kind of floaty. It doesn't seem like it has the same kind of, I don't know, punchy action that the other Arkham games had. So I think people need to gauge your expectations for those who are expecting that. I don't think this is going to be that style of game exactly.
It comes out just a few days after my birthday, and maybe if I'm in a good mood, I'll reward myself with a copy. But most certainly is not like
timer went off.
You know me. I'm normally hyped for a new Batman game, and I'm not like jumping out of my seat for this one right now.
All right, we passed 30 minutes talking about it.
Oh, I'm not even excited for the Rocksteady game. The Suicide Squad one. Yeah.
It looks okay. Until I see more, but both of these just seem kind of meh to me right now. I might change my opinion when I can see more fleshed out gameplay. I'm hoping one of them. I would imagine one of them will end up on Game Pass before too long. So
that was actually in one of the on Unlocked, which is the major video or Xbox podcast on IGN. That was actually a prediction for one of them, is that they thought Xbox, I think Destin, that was his prediction, is that Xbox would go out and try and secure this for Game Pass as to try and ratchet up some goodwill,
trying to get something since Starfield's not going to show.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so another one to move on to is this is The Last of Us. There were actually a couple major announcements with this whole thing. And again, this is the one I was talking about when I was saying I don't quite see why making another one, because the previous one was already an incredibly good-looking game.
Yeah, but, I've seen people doing like screenshot comparisons of,
It does not look much different.
Well, okay, to be fair, it does look. Here's the thing: they redid character models completely. Like they look like different characters brighter now. It's like that's not what's standing out to me. I'm sure the environments will look better, but they straight up just made the characters look different. Like not like a huge amount, but enough that I don't know. They seem a little off to me. I think they probably did that especially for Ellie because they want her to look more like the Ellie from Part 2. So I think they're trying to make that kind of change there, but none of it's worth putting out a whole new game for.
But yeah, there were a couple good announcements. I mean, they announced that they're releasing a game solely just for multiplayer for Last of Us 2, but it's its title, so it is not DLC or expansion. They're releasing solely a game that's just multiplayer in the Last of Us world, which I don't know, that seems funky, but I mean, to most people, I would think Naughty Dog has built up some goodwill, so maybe maybe people will be interested in seeing how that goes.
I don't know. I'm curious what it's going to be like. Is it just going to be like another competitive shooter, or is it going to have some...
He said there will be some story stuff in there.
I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, I didn't dislike Part 2 as much as everybody else did, but like their gameplay still is just fine for me. Like it serves the narrative that they're trying to do and like how they're trying to play out and pad out their games, but it's not like I feel like any of the combat from any of the Last of Us games are incredible. Yeah, like the characters just look different. They don't look bad, they just look different, but I don't think they look... I mean, they do look better, but not better enough.
The human eye, though, can only tell so much, and for me, it's like, it looks mildly better.
Well, no, I think you'd be able to... Here's the thing, we're seeing these in stills. I think you will, if you played them side by side, I think you would probably notice environmental details that have changed and stuff like that. So I'm not going to act like there isn't going to be a significant visual upgrade. I still don't think it's going to be worth it. Like, this is Naughty Dog, right? Let them do something else. Like, let them make a different IP or different franchise, or build upon something they've already done, or not remake another game that has now been re-released. It was already re-released and remastered on PS4. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels wasted to me. I'm very much getting remaster fatigued, just in general. So many games are doing it, and I don't know. It's not doing it for me.
Well, I will also say, guys, if you don't know, I've never played the original The Last of Us. So I actually think, I don't know when, but I think at least this month or perhaps next month, I want to play the original. I want to play it before this. So I'll, dust off my PS3 and probably give the game a try.
No, it's
I
not a
definitely
long
at least
game.
want to
It's
play
like
it.
what, 10 hours, something like that, if that. So
I definitely want to play it on stream for people. So.
fair enough.
But yeah, they announced that. They announced they're wrapping up footage for their TV show, which I'm personally, eh. But
The game
yeah,
played out like a movie. Like, what's the TV
basically.
show going to add? Here's the thing. I think the TV show is going to make people more upset than anything else, because it's going to be the Halo TV show all over again. They're going to change some weird stuff. It's going to mess with the lore, the characters, and people are going to be up in
If the
arms.
original is as good as everyone says it is, I mean, which again I haven't played it, but if it's that good, how much better could the TV show deliver? How much,
I think the only rationale here is they're going to appeal to other people, like people who wouldn't ever play a video game but would watch a TV show on Netflix or
your
something.
mom and dad,
Yeah.
I guess that's what they're going for.
And it probably is. And I get it from a marketing standpoint. I think for gamers, though, it's not going to add a whole lot to the experience. It's just going to be, at best, the same story retold. At worst, they're going to go and change a bunch of things and make the gamers mad. And that's just, open up a whole can of worms. So.
All right. Well, I actually have one more game. I'm not going to go through all. I wrote a bunch of, but I just wanted to touch on one more game. Let me see if I can find it right here. It's a little tiny little game that I'm like super excited for. So this game right here, called Time Flies. Did you get to? You see anything about this one?
A little bit, yeah.
So you did. You kind of get it. It
Mm-hmm.
looks. I'm trying to get to the. There we go. So this ridiculous game, you play a fly's, I guess, lifespan, and I guess you just have to, I don't know, make it to the end of the level as a fly and avoid dying. I don't. I think it looks kind of fun. Uh, this is the type of games where I feel like someone who knows how to make games could have been like, "Gosh, I could have made that." I don't know.
Yeah, it seemed. I mean, maybe there's more to it than they're showing off right now, but I don't know. It seems I don't know. There's
It
just
looks
not
fun.
anything
Here.
to this. Um, like, how
I
long
think it
could
looks.
you play this and
It's
feel
probably a
motivated?
probably a short. I mean, I think we both played it, but do you remember Little Inferno? That was a fun little
Little
like
Inferno had a fair amount to it,
it's
though.
like a 45-minute game, I
Little
think.
Inferno? No, if you play that, there's hours of content there if you know what you're doing.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember that game being ridiculously short.
Well, you didn't
I
finish it then.
I finished it. I did. It's easy to know when you finished everything in that game.
No, it took
'Cause I
me longer than
think
45 minutes.
I don't remember. But this game kind of reminds me maybe of what was that duck game or goose? What was it?
Oh,
Goose
Untitled Goose.
Untitled Goose, because I think he has like a bucket list of things that your fly needs to do before it dies.
Hmm.
So it reminds me kind of like Goose Game, where before your time runs out, to try and get all these done. Learn an instrument, go on tour, leave your mark. I think that looks fun.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think it's silly. I don't know how impressed I'm going to be. This better be a Game Pass release. Otherwise, I'll probably never touch it. But
Game of the show. Game of the show.
if you say so. Now, that still goes to Shredder's Revenge. But I guess my big takeaway from this is this was boring. I mean,
Yeah, it was.
it's nice to see all these trailers, but I said there's no excitement around it. Like, there weren't any real big surprises. There were some neat new games. Like, apparently this Fly game is Game of Show to you, and that's cool that you get to be exposed to the new game. But they could have dropped all these trailers on YouTube, and everybody were like, "That's cool." Like, the event itself seems kind of meh to me. Or not, I
Well,
keep saying
another
meh. That's my new
thing.
catchphrase, but it just feels wasted.
Well, another thing that like might contribute to some excitement and to some hubbub about games is good old word of mouth. People in person go to these E3 events. They actually get their, developers and media people get their hands on the games and actually get to play some things. And it's like, maybe that contributes to word of mouth. Like, it's hard to like
It
watch
contributes
something
to
like
the
this,
excitement.
but it's hard to like judge how a game feels from
Yeah.
watching this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. Like, you don't have that just standard person element. Normal guy gets to go and play a game for a little bit and tell everybody how it was. Like, you also don't get all the same, I think, coverage from other journalists. You don't get the interactions and interviews that you get on the floor, or like different publishers and developers getting together that they wouldn't only got to interact with because they're all at the same event at the same time. Like, I don't know, you just miss so much. And as if this is a taste of how the future would be without an E3, I'm disappointed.
I agree.
So once again, that is rolls back to what we said. E3, I'm glad to hear it's coming back. I hope it'll bring excitement back to it, because that's gone right now.
Do you think the lackluster feel of this is because there's planning that E3 is going to come back? Or do you still think there's a sense of people just trying to throw together events because there is no E3?
Oh, I think that's it. I think they're trying to capitalize on the fact there's no E3. I'm sure that's what it is. I mean, I'm sure it is. Right, it is the only game in town right now. No pun intended. It's just not a very good game. I don't know. I find it boring. I'm not one for these big shows anymore, too, especially if I can't anticipate there's going to be some big exciting moment. If all I think they're going to do is drop trailers, I'm going to do what I did this time. The event can air whenever. I'll go read an article about what was announced, and then I'll watch the trailers and highlights afterwards. Like, there's no feel like, oh, I need to watch this as it's happening so then I can talk about it. Those water cooler kind of moments. It's just like, okay, a bunch of games. Yay, I like games, so good for me, I guess. So, I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, so...
No, I'm perfect. I'm good. I guess that was all of our topics for the day. I do think something I just did want to mention is I feel like I need to say it more often, but if you guys, please feel free to, down in the comments or in the social medias or on Patreon, anywhere you can get a hold of me, feel free to throw topics our way or throw suggestions for anything you guys would like to see. We'd love to hear your opinions on anything we talk about, whether you more particularly love us. I mean, I don't want to hate, but I guess throw it Phoenix's way anyways.
I can take it. I got thick skin. Chaz can't.
But yeah, like I said, we would love to. I mean, the one comment we've gotten so far, we of course made a topic out of it on a previous episode.
That's how desperate we are, everybody. Please.
That's how desperate we are.
We will have a whole segment dedicated to you if you just say hi to us. I promise.
You say hi to us.
We'll make a banner on our YouTube podcast screen here that just has your name plastered everywhere. So,
guys, I'd like to talk about Major Blunt 69 commented on one of his videos. I don't know. But yeah, I guess that was it. I guess what are we gonna do next week? We're gonna play more Diablo. I think I'm gonna start playing something else. Like, I might start playing Diablo on the side, but maybe tomorrow night I feel like I want to play something fresh, something new. I don't know.
Okay, well, more power
to
you.
you, Phoenix? More Diablo?
Probably. I haven't had the time to kind of sit down and start a big meaty game. And honestly, I'm probably just going to hold off until Shredder's Revenge comes out, and that will kind of take my remainder time.
Got something on the horizon?
Huh?
You still got something on the horizon?
Yeah, I'm never going to get around to playing it. Yeah, too busy, unfortunately. I have all these games in the back, and I really don't have enough time to play them. So, oh well. Adulting is hard.
You'll get to play it someday when you're growing up, or
when I finally grow up. That'll be nice. Looking forward to it.
What's that one classic meme? It's like when you're a kid, you don't have the money, but you have all the time in the world to play games, and then when you're an adult, you have all the money, but you don't have the time to play games.
That's it. Youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that'll wrap it up for today. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Phoenix, for joining as always.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, just start walking down those steps. I'll lock the door behind you.
Oh no, I've escaped. I'm staying out. You'll never find me.
Nope. Time to
I just blank out my screen here so you can't see me. Where's my picture?
Don't let the door hit you.
Now you'll never find me.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this week. We definitely will look forward to seeing you again next week. And maybe JC will be back. Hopefully she can join back on there. But yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. We love you, and we will see you again on the next one. Adios, Phoenix.
Bye.
Bye, guys.